All right, well, welcome. Welcome to all of you that showed up in person. Welcome to you online. And I'm even going to welcome all of you that will be watching this after this, because many of you have busy lives, so welcome. The overall idea is today we're going to summarize this book, The Power That Heals. It's a summary through my concepts, through my understanding. I've tried to stick with the book, but anybody could read a book. I wanted to give some additional meaning to this. So we're summarizing this. It's based on Dr. Thurman Fleet's principles, and I'll introduce briefly him. But as far as I go, I want to introduce to you why I'm here. And I want to do this because it's valuable to me, and I think you might appreciate why you're here and why I'm delivering this particular talk. And it goes back all the way to 2020, March, for us. And many of you know I'm referring to the global pandemic. And that was a tough time for all of us, the whole world. It was tough for us. Because the governor of Texas, when asked if chiropractic was essential, he said no. That meant we shut our offices down. Wayne, you were here. Beth, you were here. Everybody, 26 individuals, we laid off from our offices, and they went home to take care of their families, all of us not knowing what was next. A couple days later, the governor got back on and said, I made a mistake. Chiropractors are essential. In an attempt to bring everybody back, that just didn't work. Not at that time. So I had a few brave individuals. They were able, they had a life that they could come in and help. And we regrouped, we restarted. I came out of essential management and started to practice chiropractic again, and that was hard. I tell that story because I wouldn't have thought after 20 years that I was considered non-essential. Now, I knew what the governor meant. Talking about emergency care, I got that. I wasn't that egoist, but it hit me inside going, what is it that made you feel that you weren't essential? And I said, it's just not okay. So I went back to school and studied neuroscience. I got a master's degree in neuroscience. And it was in that master's degree, every single week studying the brain, that I had a tear of inspiration go down my face, how miraculous and how incredible this brain of ours is. I studied that in school. I probably forgot most of it after 20 years. I went back after 20 years of school. But I was so inspired by the brain. I knew the spine. I forgot about the brain. And that sounds a little bit ridiculous, and along the journey I met a master healer. His name was Dr. Pete. I wanted to be a master healer. I wanted to be essential in body, mind, soul. I wanted all of it. And he said, I'll teach you about healing. But the one common thing about this doctor, he kept mentioning a Dr. Fleet that formed the Concept Therapy Institute. Over and over, this is where he learned the healing principles. Then his mentors, he had 4 doctors that learned directly under this Dr. Fleet. And I said, well, if you studied under this for 20 years, I want to study what you studied. And I took my journey. And I took the Concept Therapy Institute. I'll briefly describe it. It's a teaching institution that teaches the principles, universal principles of healing and how it pertains to our body, mind, and soul, period. Just teach. And I've been the last 4 years studying that diligently. Some of you have got to benefit from some of that through the chiropractic, some through private teaching, some through church. So my goal is hopefully to present principles that have already been presented in a different way, so maybe there's a nugget of this that you could grab a hold of and change or improve some aspect of your life. So this isn't really a chiropractic talk. This is a philosophy of life talk, even though chiropractic is a profoundly part of it. Here's what we're going to cover. If you look at this screen, there's some of these chapters in this book. I'll just give you a hint of some of them. We're going to talk about the body, mind, soul connection. How important are our thoughts? Do I get sick? How do I improve? This big idea that thoughts are things. Why be positive and imagination and the hows of why. This is not a rah-rah. This is just principle. I might get excited, but I did my best to make it as objective as possible and make sure there's no musts and have-tos and need-tos and got-tos anywhere in this. I want it to be objective through your eyes. Right? Now, you have a folder. Those of you in here, you have a folder. If you don't, we'll hand you one. Those of you online, you have an electronic folder. Kim worked hard at putting together a folder. I want you to open this up briefly. In here are some note pages. You can take notes. If you need a pen, raise your hands. Somebody will bring you a pen. But what I want you to pull out is this pamphlet called The Power That Heals. This is your reference material. This is what we're going to be reading from. Again, those of you online, those of you watching this later, if you don't have an electronic document, just text us later and we'll get you that. So this is what you're going to have out. If you open it up, you see before you see it, the cover of this, you can see it's based on the writings of Dr. Thurman Fleet. It says summary by me. So I'll make references later as to where you can get the real source material. But if you open up to the back of that page, it says the purpose. So I want to give you a little bit about the purpose. And I want to read this so you know what you're in store for. You all find it? It's just at the top of the back of that first page. All right, it says the purpose of this text is to highlight the transformative principles of concept therapy by Dr. Thurman Fleet, showcasing the interconnectedness of the body, mind, and soul. He goes on to say by promoting positive thoughts and adherence to natural laws. This text empowers individuals to challenge harmful beliefs and then to cultivate holistic well-being, ultimately guiding them towards improved health, personal growth, and a harmonious life. Now, if you look at the screen, I put another version of this. It says we're going to recognize principles. You're going to hear this word over and over. Principles, law, universal law, natural law. Underlying the healing of psychosomatic, which are basically negative thoughts. You've heard of mind over matter, or how our mind sometimes can mess with us. So we're looking at psychosomatic thoughts. We can also call them negative thoughts or negative thought image or negative thought disorders. Basically how thought impacts our body, how our psychology impacts our physiology. That's what we're doing for anybody. For anybody. We'll discuss the difference between what's a psychosomatic. Essentially, you have toxic things that get in and on our body. Well, that's not what we're talking about. You have trauma, falls, slips, trips. We're not really discussing that in terms of this, even though all of that matters. We're discussing how this affects the rest of our life. Right? Now, in short, I'm just going to briefly discuss who our author is, just so you have some insight, then we'll get into the talk. This is Dr. Thurman Fleet. You can see when he was born and when he left. His most notable quality is finding the Concept Therapy Institute. He was a World War I hero. And hero in all the definitions and all the medals that you can think of. Too much to discuss now. But that was a deciding force in this philosophy. At age 23, he was released from the military to die. 1 year of life sentence, basically. Shrapnel in the brain, mustard gas lungs. And he sought out, he thought he was going to die, and after a year he didn't die. And then he sought a chiropractor for headaches, the chiropractor fixed him, and the story just goes on. Turned to be an incredible inventor, chiropractor, philosopher, many, many things. If you have an interest in his life after this, it's a very short biography, 300 pages, but it's about this tall. And it's the pictures and big words. You could read it in an hour. But he goes through his memoir. He goes through his journal, what happened in the war and the things he had to do, how anybody could survive some of that. But that's just a brief history. But notably, this is his biggest contribution. This is what's the philosophy of life that we've been utilizing along with our religion, along with everything that we have, trying to figure out how to survive this thing we call life. He's also noted for the Total Health Handbook, The Rays of the Dawn. That's this book. You'll hear a lot about it. We teach classes weekly on this. This is the laws of the body, the mind, and the soul. You'll hear that over and over. Laws of the body, laws of the mind, laws of the soul. Universal laws, universal principles, natural laws. That's the key, if you don't get anything else out of today, is that. This is the entrance to the ranch in just north of San Antonio, Texas, Bernie, Leon Springs area. This is where sometimes we go for teaching, sometimes we teach here and other places. That word has many meanings, but one is body, mind, soul. Another one could be as it is. Sometimes we say it just is. And then early definition. This is what intrigued me. I want you to see why I was so amazed by this. It's the study and application of, again, universal principles, universal laws. That's okay. But specifically of what? Of science, theology, and philosophy about the human personality. And here I'll just briefly say the personality as body, mind, soul, spirit. That's if we use theological context. If we want to use objective psychology, we have other words. But about what, though? The cause of disease, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual. And then it's also, I love this part, the science and the art of removing the cause of disease using physical, mental, or spiritual methods. And then on top of that, teaching natural laws. That's what he based his whole philosophy on. Body, mind, soul. What's the cause? How do you fix it? But universal law, God's laws on how he created everything. If you understand those, you have a shot of being aware when you get sick and why, and when you don't get what you want and why you don't get it. So in the course, we outline this creative process. The first day is all about how God created the universe using his laws. And then how you use those same laws to create the health you want in life or uncreate the disease or sickness that you have in life. Some might call it manifestation processes. This is specifically utilizing law. We talk about the body, mind, soul, spirit, how those connect into the personality, and then more about natural law. What I love more than anything is that if you took metaphysics, theology, and philosophy, and you extracted the meaning, the core teachings, the central truths out of that, and then you took psychology, the social sciences, and the natural sciences, and you extracted the meaning out of that, the central truths, the core philosophies, you put them all into one course, that's the concept therapy course. It's a course of facts. And when I got a hold of these, and I'm starting to understand these, not only my healing physically started helping out, but those mentally and also spiritually. Brief definition, concept means fixed idea. Some call them limited beliefs. Some can call them energy blocks. Some can call them genetic tendencies. Some can, whatever word you want to use, there's a fixed idea typically because it has emotion attached to it, sentiment attached to it, feeling. And then therapy means working with. So basically we're just saying, we take your negative junk and we help you see it as positive, but from what does the universal laws say? Usually it's negative to positive because most of us want to get rid of the negative. We don't usually think that we're too overly positive. So it just teaches us how to work with these fixed ideas. So that's it on that. Now to the notes. I'm going to read to you the introduction from a chapter from Dr. Fleet's Phase 1. Anybody not have a folder? Okay, here's one right here. Now, Dr. Fleet teaches many courses, but he taught this one in 1946. So you can follow along as I read, and then if there's a question, we'll answer them, and then we'll get into the text. All right? He says, the time has arrived when doctors, regardless of their training, will have to consider patients with neurotic or mental disorders or emotional diseases much more seriously. Giving a dose of medicine or a chiropractic adjustment or some other form of physical therapy will not suffice. Doctors of the future will be compelled to treat the whole person, body, mind, and soul. Public opinion is now being molded into a belief that there may be many causative factors of disease and that personality disorders, those of the body, mind, soul, spirit, constitute by far the most significant factors. As you'll learn later, 80% of all disease has an association with these thoughts. As people become more aware of the real cause of disease, doctors who believe that the reason is exclusively germs or subluxations or trauma, etc., will have to change their viewpoint. Likewise, their methods or else, like the dodo bird, will become extinct. Inherent in every human being is the same power which governs the universe. We might call it spirit, or as some prefer to call it God. This eternal principle assumes in the human a secondary role and operates only to the degree that we will permit. The conscious recognition of this dynamic principle operating in and through us constitutes the basis for all mental and spiritual healing. Faith is the essential factor in releasing that great power within that brings health and vitality to every expression of life. Whenever there is doubt in our consciousness that we can get well, this power cannot properly operate. It always works according to the person's suggestion. And I just want to point out, anything that you see on your paper that's highlighted, bolded, underlined, italicized, that's just my input. So what you're seeing is a work through my eyes and my concepts, what I thought was important, obviously for me. I thought you might benefit from it, but you might see things in here that say, why you didn't underline that? And why didn't... Well, that may be for next time when I'm more aware that that was important. The key I want you to get in that section is this eternal principle assumes a secondary role, meaning God's given us choice for the most part over our life. I understand there's different ways we can go with that, but just know that. Animals, they don't have that choice. They're just under the control. Already the victim of repression and ignorance and maladjustment and misunderstanding, the emotionally disturbed individual goes from doctor to doctor seeking to regain health and to some degree mental peace. Most doctors will treat the physical symptoms of the condition, but we will leave the real cause in the personality. We'll leave the cause in the body, the mind, the soul, or the spirit. Finding their physical treatments ineffectual, they usually will dismiss such cases with the statement that the condition is all in the patient's mind and that the patient must get a hold of themselves to maintain a more optimistic outlook on life. Of course, the patient leaves feeling discouraged, disillusioned, maybe exploited, and actually in worse shape than they were before they consulted the doctor. Though their physical suffering may be temporarily alleviated, their mental torment and their confusion have been intensified. So it goes on and says, what treatment could be given to remove the effect of a bad habit? What medicine could be prescribed to eliminate the effect of remorse and fear and worry or a troubled conscience? What chiropractic adjustment could be given to get rid of the impact of greed or hatred or resentment? Well, in concept therapy, we have 6 written concepts or suggestions, one for each of the 6 anatomical zones, which if received by the patient's innate mind would remove all physical harmony. And what he's referring to, we'll get to, is our bodies have 6 major systems. And those 6 systems, if there's a deficiency or a problem in one of those, that system will malfunction and lead to disease. If you can identify quickly which system that is, you can begin to repair that. I'll do some of those demonstrations at the end of this. Now, these suggestions, and don't miss this part, together with a re-educational program designed to acquaint the patient with the laws which govern the body, mind, and soul, will in time remove all physical, mental, and spiritual causes of disease. What we're saying is, if you don't change the thought, the decision, and the action, it's not likely that you're going to have a change in life in any realm, whether we're talking physically, mentally, or spiritually. You all have heard the saying, if you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same result. That's what that's saying. So if we're not getting a change, there's something we don't know, and there's something we're not doing, or there's something we're not thinking that's allowing our brain to keep giving us the same thing. But the doctor's efforts, well, they're in vain unless the patient is in earnest. There must be faith, cooperation, and a condition of harmony between the healer and the patient to stimulate and activate the forces within that produce the cure. Too many people have been led to believe that they can go to the doctor and purchase health. Yes, we all expect that in some way. Health cannot be bought, it must be gained, and to attain health it is to bring the body, the mind, the soul into harmony with the laws which govern these parts. You're going to hear it over and over again. Obviously, the emphasis is on somehow, some way, learning or understanding these laws of life. And you've already been taught that through Scripture, you've been taught that through every which way. We just haven't recognized who and what they are and how they work. Every doctor realizes the futility of securing patients who are ready and willing to become students of health. But the time will come when the doctor will be a teacher of health, instructing people how to keep well instead of attempting to only treat sickness and disease, which is but a violation, conscious or unconscious, intentional or unintentional, of the laws of the body, mind, and soul. And very few, however, are ready for such a highly evolved program of living and thinking. The person engaged in healing work today is compelled to treat the body for the disease and at the same time to attempt to discover the cause, whether it be physical, mental, or spiritual. And having found the reason, we must utilize every means at our command to remove it or change its nature. If it's a bad habit causing the illness, well, it's essential to explain this to the patient and work hard to get them to overcome it. If it is a fixed idea, a limiting belief, or a concept in the mind, we are to change it by suggestion. If the cause is a physical object that has entered the body, then we must remove it. Hence, in each case, the doctor is compelled to treat the whole person, body, mind, and soul. And the teaching of concept therapy and conceptology prepares one for this work. And then finally, before we get to the book, understand that we are governed by the laws of the body, mind, and soul, and that if we continue to violate these laws, no doctor in the world can cure us. All that the best doctor can do is change our symptoms so that we think we are well. So I thought that might be of interest to get you an idea of why I've been inspired to do these, and hope that you can get a glimpse. And then that glimpse gives you some direction in life that you've been looking for, physically, mentally, or spiritually, however you do it. All right? So the way we'll do this is I've summarized the chapters into 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. I'll ask somebody to read the paragraph so it's not just me speaking, and then we'll discuss it briefly and quickly. If there's no discussion, we'll move on to the next chapter. So that'll be the format. Now, at the end of today, I'll have a couple suggestions, like steps for what's next in your journey of learning. One, of course, will be to get this book. It's a very simple book. Even those of you that don't read, I think my notes are bigger than the book. It's like 50 pages, and it's beautifully. But there also is an audio book. So some of you, I'm not reading anything, but there's an audio book, and some of you may want both. So I'm going to play throughout this an audio of a mentor of mine reading the book, because number one, he's fantastic at reading, but he gives the emphasis from a different perspective. So I'm going to play that, and then we'll get onto the book. Okay?
life will be glorious and happy when we realize that the universe is one of law and order and is governed by natural divine laws. As we become aware of these laws and learn to harmonize with them, we automatically attune ourselves with the divine. Where do you look for answers? Look for the laws. Dr. Thurman Fleet's philosophy of health does not concern itself with how a person worships God. Rather, concept therapy offers you the opportunity to participate in a personal study of health based on natural laws that have been with us since the beginning of humankind. If we cooperate with natural law, we will always reap the benefit. Many of our physical ills can be cured by correct dietary measures. Many of our mental disorders can be cured by right thinking. Therefore, it's only logical to assume that many of our spiritual disharmonies may be alleviated by right acting as we search for the power that heals.
The whole audio book is read like that. So if you like that voice there, you have that. You also have my voice on the recording if you want that too. Anyway, so chapter 1, where do I look for answers? Do I have someone inspired to read? Okay, Monica, we'll get you a mic. This is for the online individuals, and for the recording, the mic, so just know. Go ahead.
In moments of introspection, individuals often ponder the meaning of life, frequently without finding a satisfactory answer. While many find joy in aspects like family and work, countless others face significant struggles such as broken families, addictions, and mental illness. The challenges of modern life, including violence and social strife, leave many yearning for a source of strength and peace. Religious institutions offer support through teachings about a higher power, typically condensed into weekly services, which might provide comfort to some. However, the effectiveness of such services can vary. Many people savor the benefits of prayer, while others explore spirituality through alternative means, seeking a more comprehensive framework for health and happiness. Concept therapy, developed by Dr. Thurman Fleet, is a method focused on understanding and working with ideas that promote well-being while eliminating those that cause distress. Dr. Fleet emphasizes the importance of navigating one's life course amid a chaotic world of conflicting beliefs. He suggests that true harmony arises from recognizing the divine presence within us and the natural laws that govern the universe. This chapter concludes by urging individuals to seek answers through understanding these natural laws. By aligning our actions with these laws, we can heal physical ailments, address mental challenges, and resolve spiritual discontent, ultimately tapping into the healing power that exists within nature.
Thank you. All right. Anything catch anybody's attention, or you have a comment or a question? And the format will be this as we go, so as people get comfortable speaking, then people will speak up. If you don't speak up, then you hear more of my voice. Okay. Okay, Mary?
I like that it's kind of a condensation of how to change life, and that you don't have to change things that you're already doing, like whether it's going to church or taking classes or delving into metaphysics or whatever your path is, that that you don't have to change your whole self.
Very good. The idea, too, is that oftentimes all along our life, our parents have tried to instruct truth into us, our teachers, our preachers, philosophers, we've had truth presented to us. We just didn't have ears to hear at that time. And usually we hear it too many years later. I wished I would have. So this is just another way to shake up your brain cells a little bit to go, oh, I didn't think of it that way. All right. Anyone else? Okay, we have.
I can probably talk about it.
It's fine, but go ahead and grab the mic. It's for the online people.
Oh, okay. It's just short.
That's fine.
I just think that there's a lot of people, not dumb, I don't mean that, but ignorant that there are natural laws to begin with.
That is the point of this. You know, we understand civil law. We understand that if we speed and get caught, the chances are likely we probably receive a citation. This is why most of us don't rob banks and do hurt people, because there is a consequence for the most part. And that's if you get caught. The interesting thing with God's laws and universal law, it's not if. It happens. It just may not have all manifested fully yet. Just like when we speed, never get caught, and then we get the one time we get caught, and we're like, well, I wasn't even speeding. No, that's for all the times that you didn't get caught. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, good. All right. Oh, Jackie? Go ahead.
When it says the comprehensive framework, and then you go to recognizing the divine presence within us, the process of looking at the universe as such a large picture, and then throwing in that 6 degrees of separation where we all are connected, it's amazing that we have it within us. We just have to tap into it.
Good. All right. And then if time comes later, you want to address something that comes up, we'll build on each chapter. Okay, so chapter 2 is going to be about the body, mind, soul connection. And so we're going to play a clip from there.
Now, it would be difficult indeed to deny the scientific evidence that proves negative emotions like fear, worry, and anger, when experienced for long periods of time, may cause serious bodily ills. The mind plays a great part in health and dis-ease, and yet very few doctors treat it. In Dr. Fleet's words, quote, "You cannot break a spiritual law without paying the price in decreased health. Nature and nature alone is the one and only curative power that heals." End of quote.
The reason I'm playing these is, number one, again, I told you these are my words. The source material is in the book. So it's valuable that you get from source. Okay, chapter 2, an inspired... we have a reader.
Chapter 2 summary, the body-mind-soul connection. In 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet established the Universal Health Foundation in San Antonio, Texas, focusing on health rather than disease. He emphasized the interconnectedness of the body, mind, and soul, asserting that all three must be in harmony for proper health. Dr. Fleet proclaimed that he had discovered the causes of internally created diseases and believed that the solution would eventually gain acceptance among medical professionals. He authored the books Rays of the Dawn, a textbook aimed at educating patients about the laws of life, organized into 3 parts: the laws of the body, the mind, and the soul. These laws cover essential concepts such as nourishment, movement, recuperation, and sanitation. The mind's influence on overall health is significant, with negative emotions like fear, worry, and anger potentially leading to physical ailments. Dr. Fleet argued that true healing involves educating individuals and understanding the natural laws governing health. His patient base grew significantly as he shifted his focus from a chiropractic practice to teaching his holistic approach, known as concept therapy. This method encourages a focus on health rather than illness, fostering positive changes in patients' lives.
Thank you. So when you look at the screen, this is, when he's talking about the rays of the dawn, this is the handbook for the laws of life, natural law, body, mind, and soul. The first 4 chapters. If there was anything you could learn universally, it's these first 4 chapters. It's the basis for health that most of us are violating horrifically. Even though this thing was written in the early 1900s, the principle behind it is what matters. Yes, we have tons of research nutritionally, and there's always something new coming out on what's healthy and what's not healthy, and what was now isn't, what isn't now is. It's still the principle. And yes, everyone is different, genetically, physically, mentally, spiritually, but without some way, without a speed limit sign, you may not know. Go 5 over, go 5 under, go 20 over, go... Regardless, you at least have a bearing. So if you have the book and you're struggling with something physically, start with the body. Just start with the body. It's that incredible. And if you think you already know that, I promise you, you don't, because I know that every day all of us struggle with doing the basics. And I ask almost every patient, do you follow the law of movement? They go, I run 10 miles, I exercise every day, I work out. I go, that's not the law of movement. You're not following the law of movement. So joints are made to be moved. You don't move a joint, they wear out. That's just how it is. And then if you injure them, of course, it gets more common. So this is what he's talking about. Raise it on. We'll spend more time on this, but we meet weekly. There's probably 13 groups around the United States, plus ones internationally that meet for free. There's nothing other than get the book and join a group or study it for yourself. Laws of the body. Then there's the laws of the mind and soul. But we'll talk more on that. Questions on that chapter or comments? These are highlights that you're in store for. Okay. We'll move to the next chapter. Chapter 3, how important are my thoughts? So let's see what the audio book says on this.
Chapter 3, how important are my thoughts? There are basic concepts or ideas stored in our brain cells which either stimulate or depress our expression of life. Good basic concepts stimulate life. Through them, the soul, you, and spirit, the power that runs all life, operate together to manifest health and happiness. Negative concepts depress life and lead you to believe and recognize that you are ill. Some days you may feel depressed and ill at ease. Your outside world has gone awry. Nothing satisfies you. Your digestive system isn't functioning properly because you have allowed yourself to operate from a concept that depresses life.
Okay. A reader for chapter 3. Okay.
Chapter 3, how important are my thoughts? Our thoughts play a crucial role in shaping our experiences and health. Dr. Thurman Fleet emphasizes that the concepts stored in our brains can either enhance or hinder our ability to express life positively. Positive concepts stimulate health and happiness, while negative concepts can lead to feelings of illness and despair. When individuals experience distress, they often seek medical intervention, such as medication. However, Dr. Fleet advocates a deeper understanding of the underlying concepts that affect one's health, suggesting that we can change negative thoughts without relying solely on pills. Dr. Fleet proposes that the body is always in a state of flux, influenced significantly by our thoughts. He believed that over 80% of ailments stem from negative concepts, and by identifying and addressing these concepts, we can negate many self-inflicted illnesses. This chapter encourages readers to prevent negative thinking from dominating their lives, promoting a shift towards positive thought to improve health. Dr. Fleet emphasizes that our beliefs shape our reality. Our brains store external information which interacts with existing concepts, influencing our health and well-being. This interaction can be visualized. Negative concepts manifest as health issues, while positive concepts yield health, serenity, and kindness. Ultimately, this chapter asserts that our current thoughts and concepts directly impact our health, urging us to take charge of our beliefs to create the fulfilling and healthy lives we desire, thereby harnessing the power that heals.
Thank you. Thoughts on that?
The way that I envision it, it's almost like if our lives are an orchestra and we are the conductors. So I feel like I see myself standing in front of my orchestra, and I'm the mind, and I'm telling it. Each instrument is an area: the body, the spirit, blah blah blah, and then I'm the one telling it according to what I want to play in the moment, what tune I want to play, what song I want to play, and if it's going to harmonize. I could have the violin harmonized, but if the piano is off tune, it's creating all this mess. So we can go to the gym and we can do all kinds of exercises, but if the other area of our lives are out of tune, that's when we feel out of balance. So as the mind, I'm the conductor. I have to get my notes in order, my consciousness in order, so that then I can instruct and tell my life what direction I want it to go in every area.
Thank you. Could y'all picture that? Yes, beautifully said. You're the conductor of the symphony, your body and all the organs and parts to it, and are all under the influence of that conductor. The issue is, Wayne will be next, the issue is we're not aware that what we're conducting. See, especially when it comes to negative aspects of our life. We're not aware. We think that happens by chance, that someone else or something else is doing that to us, and we have no part in it. And all the people sitting in the chairs and orchestra are saying is, you went like this. You wanted me to do this, but you went like that. And it created a cacophony, a noise. Go ahead, Wayne. Big word.
Can you spell cacophony?
No, I cannot spell
This may be a little bit of a thought and a question at the same time. How important are your thoughts when you're dealing with health? If you are having a health problem and it's ongoing, you don't seem to find the doctors are not helping, the doctors are not finding anything, then your thoughts can spiral into where all you're focusing is on the negative of what is dealing with you physically, so your thoughts are now feeding that. So it's growing.
Yes.
But if you're able to shift and go, you know what, I'm tired of being like this, and you shift the mindset to, I'm not going to have this anymore, this is not going to be my life, and you start putting a real positive mental input into changing that, then you can start getting better. Yes. But it's that, I think, is the biggest challenge when you're having physical symptoms that nobody can help you with, and the challenge is staying positive with that mindset to keep fighting that fight.
Yes. Yeah, for those of you and me that we haven't had significant health issues, where we've been to every place in the world and everything, and we're trying, and it's still not working, we probably don't understand how difficult it is. Just be positive. And so what I want to make sure that we get across here is this isn't just be positive. This isn't, as one doctor, one of the doctors that worked under Dr. Fleet said, this isn't a chipper believer in a happiness cult. No, life is life. We have to have support and challenge. How do we deal with something like what Wayne brought up is it has to be through education, through education, through education, and it has to be a start. And I don't know in some people's lives where they've done everything. I don't have all the answers. I'm working on my own salvation at the same time. However, it's through finding a principle that you can hold on to and that you have faith in so much, and you work it out, and you work it out, and you work it out. But what I know, all that I can provide some, is if we follow what we know to be true as a whole, then maybe we have a chance. And yes, there are genetic factors, and there are things that get in the way, and we are to go, well, your grace is sufficient for me. I don't know what else to say sometimes.
Yeah, we have a question, Dr. Bobbitt, from online. Why does it appear that there is a delay between the action of obedience or violation of the law and the consequences of the act?
Okay, did you all hear that? All right. Why is there a delay between the obedience and following law and then the outcome? Here's a very simple, too simple. Think about pregnancy has a 9-month incubation period. No matter how much you pray, eat, exercise, it's 9 months. Now, if you give birth early, it's incubator. There's a period of incubation by law that was set up that this is. Now, from a physical part, the brain, we've trained the brain and the body a certain way. So sometimes there's just a little bit of time. If the body is withered, you were 200 pounds and now you're 50 pounds, it takes just a little bit of time for the majority of the world to recover. Yes, there have been some withered hands healed biblically, but we're not that. And I haven't seen evidence of that anywhere else. So the likelihood is there's a period of incubation that must occur depending on the situation and if it's lawful. So that's a small summary of that. We have questions all over, more comments?
I was kind of referring back to the gentleman that spoke a moment ago, and that is that, you know, we get sick. I was sick since I was 10, and nobody knew what was wrong with me because it was, well, we're not going to go how many years ago it was.
Can you put it closer?
And at the end of the day, I had to do my own research. I had to start healing myself, and I started with diet. Your brain and your body must function on what you put in it. Whatever you put in it, you're going to get out of it. And when I did the gluten-free, which I don't say that word anymore, but I don't eat grain. But what's interesting is that I see people say, well, I can't give up bread. Do you really think it was easy for me? I like it like everybody else. But I noticed when I gave up the bread, a lot of things got better. I was not healed from my illnesses at all, but definitely put them in their place. I'm on no medication. But I find that it's interesting. We start digging our graves with our forks, and how fast you eat is how fast you dig that hole.
Okay.
Put your fork down. People say, well, you know, I have diabetes runs in my family. I'm like, diabetes doesn't run in your family. Your fork does. Put it down.
Good. The key statement for what she said I want you to get is, she said it starts with your diet. I'll add to that, you start with the laws of the body, which nutrition is a factor. I like the mind. I like psychology and its impact on the body, but we start with the body. Okay, we had another comment? And just speak loud into the mic for the online people, please.
I just wanted to go back to my metaphor, whatever you call that. And a lot of us we've been conditioned. And we've been given, here, play these notes. This is how you're going to live your life. This is what I want you to believe. And we need to get away with that. you are the co-creator of your life. And once you reconcile to your higher power and yourself, then you know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly what the piano needs. You know exactly what the violin needs. But once you are in tune with that, then you start taking charge and you start knowing exactly what you need to do. But first, we need to get away with everything we've been conditioned with.
Keyword, conditioned. These are the fixed ideas, the fixed conditions, the fixed beliefs that maybe we thought were true, and those that loved us thought they were true, but they may not be. And we run our whole life on something that we were told because an authority told us, whoever that authority may be, especially the people we love. They did the best they could with what they had. All right, any other comment? We have a comment right here. Mike, can we get the mic?
Yeah, that goes along with something I've been studying in the Bible, Romans 12:2. And there's a translation that says, don't let the patterns of this world squeeze you into their mold. And the mold is, the definition is external pressures. And we're to be renewed from the renewing of our mind, renewed from the inside out, not the outside in. But I thought that was a great translation. Don't let it squeeze you. Don't let the world squeeze you into their mold, and don't follow their patterns and their customs.
What I love what you said was you've taken the Bible and you're studying that authority, that truth, and now you're doing something with it. But without study or knowledge, it's difficult for you to figure it out for yourself. Even though we trust authorities to help us, it's also our responsibility to see if that lines up with the body, mind, and soul for you. Okay, all right. Can we move on? Okay, we'll come back if you have questions. Chapter 4, what do I know? You have a reader. Chapter 4, let me get somebody to read. Okay, she's coming.
What do I know? In this chapter, Dr. Thurman Fleet draws an analogy between the mind and a computer, emphasizing that our minds process and store knowledge in ways similar to how data is entered and retained in a computer system. However, he notes that much of this stored knowledge is plagued with falsehoods and contradictions, making it challenging to lead to a happy and healthy life. Many beliefs, both in theology and in science, are historically grounded in misinformation, leading to confusions. Dr. Fleet suggests that individuals often hold on to incorrect concepts. This illustrates that one can believe in falsehoods, but actual knowledge arises only from identifying and understanding what is accurate. He encourages readers to reevaluate their own beliefs and gather the truths necessary for a fulfilling life. He asserts that actual knowledge emerges when individuals take sincere action to improve their lives and relationships. This process requires thorough study and understanding of new information. Unlike traditional teachings that dictate what to think, concept therapy empowers individuals to think for themselves and select ideas that enhance their well-being. By mastering the principles of concept therapy, individuals can create ideas centered around peace, health, prosperity, and happiness. When these ideas are integrated into one's underlying cognitive and emotional framework, their inherent potential can be expressed and experienced.
Thank you. Okay. Anything pop out to anyone right there before we move on? Okay. Now, my goal is to get to chapter 7, finish 7, and then break. Okay? That way, I'm not going to base it on time because I don't want to stop a flow too much. But that's where my flow is designed to break. Okay. Chapter 5 in the book are testimonials. I'm not going to go through the testimonials right now, but basically those are the transformative effects that people have had promoting their health, happiness, personal growth. So we're going to go to chapter 6. This is on intuitive guidance. Now I'm going to read this because it's a little bit meaty. I'm going to give you a little glimpse into some of the inside work that Dr. Fleet put together. But in this idea, if we look at our fourfold nature, basically body, mind, soul, spirit. I'm using a few theological terms for soul and spirit. The big head here doesn't mean that the soul and the spirit reside in the brain. It's just a depiction to get you to kind of understand what we're talking about. So, according to Dr. Fleet, and the way he summarized the philosophies is he said, life is the action of the spirit and the soul through the matter that makes up the body. So he defines mind as the function of the brain, the function of the cells of the brain. Not just the brain, but the cells of the body. Mind is a function. If we ask, where is the mind? Can you dissect the mind? Can you show me the mind anatomically? It's not there. So we're looking at the function, and the soul and the spirit use the mind to carry out its actions in life and then manifest them in our body, and they manifest them in our life. Because without a body, we got nothing. This is why the emphasis on laws of the body is boring and as basic as they are. They're so basic we can't even follow them. That's how basic they are. There's so much truth we can't even hear it. So, we are a soul activated by the spirit operating through the body. Your body is not, if your body is not healthy, the soul and the spirit can't interact. No matter how spiritual you are, there's no outward expression. So this is why the emphasis is on the body. That's why I'm preaching it so hard, so I hear it. All right. He says the teachings of concept therapy regarding the factors of personality reveal a profound truth that has remained undiscovered in previous learning. This knowledge enables you to focus on positive thoughts from an internal perspective. By harnessing this insight, you can consciously develop a healthier personality and influence your subconscious to react positively, leading to holistic improvements in your body, mind, and spirit. If you look at this screen, to objectify this some, because some don't like the word soul and spirit because we all have different definitions of what this means and still don't. People have tried to explain what this thing called the soul is. People say, I have a soul, I am a soul, I've lost my soul, don't lose your soul. There's so much confusion. So if we make it objective and we say, there's an originative factor. This is the factor that chooses and decides. Who does that? Well, that's you. You choose and decide, or you allow others to choose and decide for you. But you are in charge. Spirit, you could define as the executive factor. Its job is to execute. What do we mean? Well, you choose the biscuit that you put in your mouth. Once you swallow it, this executive factor, which we'll call spirit, decides on where to send the nutrition and decides to what to keep and what to eliminate. You don't do that. So something has to give the command, something has to carry it out, and then it shows up in the material factor, either your body or your life. So anything that shows up in your body or your life had to come from somewhere. So if you want to know if you're violating laws of the body, mind, or soul, well, you just look at your life. Now you got to figure out who is originating, who or what's originating that. Is that you? Is that your genetics? Is that your parents? Is that your teacher, your preacher, your doctor, your friend? Because a lot of what's happening inside of us, we're not even aware that there's a conductor that's conducting us, especially in a negative manner. We go on to say, additionally, this chapter introduces the concept of something called the composite personality, which is crucial for fostering essential relationship dynamics, such as those between parent and children, or sales people and clients, or doctors and patients. And understanding this composite personality allows you to harness your inner potential. It allows you to adapt to your environment and improve your overall well-being across physical, mental, and spiritual domains. The text also delves into the notion of intuitive guidance. Unlike instincts that drive animals, illustrated by the annual return of the cliff swallows to the mission of San Juan Capistrano, they're guided purely by their instincts, whereas human beings have the capacity for intuitive insights that stem from a connection to universal consciousness. This connection, referred to by various names such as God or Spirit or energy, reveals that a supportive force is guiding you through life's challenges. And by breaking through these limiting beliefs, through these negative concepts, and understanding natural laws and how they work, you can recognize the guidance available to you. And once you gain this clarity through study and application, you will naturally aspire to live harmoniously and experience life in ease and the connection to all living beings. I'll briefly share with you, there's too much to talk about on this, but let me go back to this. The idea is this circle around here represents that we're in tune with another individual. We're in resonance. The two are acting as one. There's faith. And when we have faith in an individual or something, that their idea we will accept. They will suggest you should do this, need to do this, must do this, have to do this, or you ought to do this. And that idea, if you accept it and you put emotion and feeling, it will drop into your subconscious and then it'll show up in your body or your life, depending on whether it's positive or negative. This applies to both. We're just not taught this mechanic. It's the same mechanics in communication. See, we can communicate conscious to conscious with gestures and speech, and we can write and do pictures, but there's another part of communication we all feel but we forget. It's this vibrational one. When you walk into a room and you feel loved and inspired and you just like that. Or when you walk into the room you feel the opposite. You feel yuck. Something's not resonating. You don't like the vibe. Well, that's the law of vibration. This happens whether you know it or not, for sickness and health. You could be influenced this way and no one say or show you anything. They can just be giving you a negative vibration, which could translate into negative health. And then just know, when we talk about every philosophy, every religion, every science, we all have a different word. And where we get caught in the trouble is we use words that mean different things. Like if I asked all of us to define our picture of God, every one of us would have a different image, a different process. You ask the world, some would see an angry, some would see a happy, some would see an individual, some would see a power. Whatever word we use, you have your own definition for that. So if we use a word and you just can insert a different word that's right for you. But we must be careful, because the words we use, we have a meaning, and we get into arguments and we're talking about the same thing, but we're not realizing that. And we create wars over ideas. So it's nice to have a dialogue to explain, when you say that, what do you mean and how do you mean? Chiropractors use the word innate for the healing power of the body. Some people use nature. Sometimes we just say God. Sometimes we say spirit. Sometimes we say the eternal principle. To you, you have a meaning, but to me it might mean something different, but we're saying the same thing. Any quick questions before we conclude, before break? We have one more chapter and then we'll move. Okay. Now, why do I get sick? We'll play an audio.
Only when you understand the source of your cravings and know how to change your thinking can you stop giving in to your body's cravings. Knowledge unleashes the power within to curb your physical cravings.
Pretty succinct. Just maybe something that could stick. Nothing earth-shattering there, but it could penetrate pretty deep. All right. A reader for chapter 7. Okay, Mary.
Why do I get sick? In this chapter, the text outlines 6 key functions of the human body, referred to as health zones. Number 1 is the glandular zone. It oversees the normal functions of the body's glands. Number 2, the eliminative zone, manages the organs involved in elimination, such as sinuses, lungs, skin, kidneys, and bowels. Number 3, the nerve zone, encompasses the nervous system and the special senses. 4 is the digestive zone, controls the organs responsible for digestion and nutrient absorption. The muscular zone is number 5. It regulates muscle tone and strength throughout the body. And the circulatory zone manages circulation through the heart, arteries, veins, and lymphatic system. This chapter asserts that when these zones function optimally, the body should be free from illness. Just as a racing car performs well when finely tuned, a healthy body thrives when all health zones are in order. However, the chapter raises an important question. Why do health issues arise? While doctors often diagnose physical ailments and prescribe treatments, these approaches may focus more on symptoms rather than addressing their root causes. In contrast, concept therapy practitioners aim to identify and treat the underlying zone problems, restoring proper health. Concept therapy emphasizes fundamental concepts that may seem overly simple at first, but can profoundly impact health. The first principle is the law of nourishment, which stresses the importance of proper nutrition. Consuming processed foods can lead to various health issues, reminding us that the spirit desires to express health through the body. The following principle, the law of movement, highlights the necessity of regular physical activity. The muscular system is crucial for supporting organ function, and consistent movement maintains flexibility and strength. Following this, the law of recuperation emphasizes the need for adequate rest, relaxation, and recreation. Neglecting these can lead to stress and health challenges. The fourth principle, the law of sanitation, underscores the importance of cleanliness in both our bodies and environments. While this may seem basic, it plays a significant role in overall health. Understanding these laws provides insight into the sources of unhealthy cravings and encourages a shift in thinking. By recognizing that many physical habits stem from mental concepts, individuals can learn to control their bodies. The combination of the Becoming of the Body lesson in concept therapy, along with the teaching from the Rays of Dawn, empowers individuals to govern their thoughts and decisions. By adhering to the laws of the body, like you would obey traffic laws, you can unlock your inner power to achieve lasting health. As others may struggle with discomfort and negativity, you can cultivate energy and positivity as you embark on your journey toward wellness.
Thank you, Mary. So in this, if you look at the slide, these 6 zones, the way Dr. Fleet set up his technique was any issue you have, any health issue, could be in one or more of these 6 zones. We have a way of identifying which zone is blown, so to speak. Now the question is this a physical issue, a mental issue, or a spiritual issue? But at least we can identify which system of your body is malfunctioning. In that, we've mentioned over and over and over in the Rays of the Dawn, if you have the book, start again with the laws of the body. Follow those. Take any issue you have and apply it to those first. It makes the most sense since our body is the one that's giving us the trouble. If you're following those, then we can go to the mind and to the soul. From there, understand that our thoughts, we've already heard it, our thoughts interfere, they go into our body. If they're thoughts of health, we have health. If they're thoughts of disease, we have disease. And so know that the becoming of your body means that the body isn't fixed. Now there are some genetic fixes we have. You're probably not going to change that. Because by law, you have maybe the nose you have, or the height that you have. But the body is perfectly plastic and can be molded. We can change it relatively. Our thoughts definitely interfere with the health of our body. The body changes daily, either for better or worse according to your state of mind, depending on what's in there and what program you have. Key idea, your body, we could also say your mind, your soul, is continually becoming according to the fixed ideas, the limiting beliefs, the genetic tendencies that we have. That's the point of this, is that our health is impacted by our thought. Now, questions before we go on a 10-minute break? Any questions so far? All right, here are questions that have popped in your mind that would be good to maybe address before we move further. Okay, we have a question and we need a mic. Okay. Here's the mic. He's coming.
Two questions. First, I was looking for the audio book on YouTube. It's not on there. Yes. Do you know where it is?
Yes, so the question is she's looking for the audio book. It's not online. At the end, I will give you every opportunity to get a book, get the audio book, do a class. I'll have all that worked out, okay? But good question. The Institute has provided a couple little reasonable little packages that you could get, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, question, go ahead.
Other question, well, I was watching something the other day and he was saying that we have billions of cells that are created every day, new cells, like billions, and then we shed millions of cells every day, so that in an 84-day period, we've got like a new body? Is that?
So you can look at different sources, but the idea, there is a create and destroy in the body. Okay. The numbers are whatever the numbers are, but there's a balance to create and destroy. Each organ and tissue have different incubation periods. Some respond in a day, some a week, some a year, but it takes time. So the analogy would be that in a certain amount of time, you could have a new body, and then the question would become, well then why, if I have a new body and new cells, why do I still have the disease? Well, because the disease idea is within the cellular makeup. It's in the cell DNA, so to speak. So the cell keeps reproducing a defective cell. Even though it's a new cell, its program says, create this old raggedy defective cell. That can be changed, and it is being changed on multiple ways. It's what we're attempting to share, but in a gradient. We'll get there. Just kind of an introduction. Okay, Jackie, question? Great question.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but on the chapter 4 where it says, what do I know? What do people that create their own false memories of their past that may create disease, how is it possible for them to find the truth?
Okay, good. So
it's pretty deep, sorry.
It is. The question is if your body is operating incorrectly and your cells are operating not by law, well, the cells are going to do what the cells do. They're based on the instruction that they've been given. See, that's the part most people aren't aware of. You have to first become aware that there's a problem and then seek to follow law so that it changes the old program to a new program. It's to be similar to you updating your phone or your computer. That's how you do it. So we're showing the way that you do that first with basic laws. First you start with the body. Then you work with the mind and soul. Is this thing, we're going to do it right now. We're going to go into, is it poisons, is it trauma, or is it auto-suggestion? But first you must be made aware. If people aren't aware that they have programmed their cells or they've allowed somebody to program them, then they could never change it because they have no awareness. And if the
So
truth,
they have to be aware of the problem, and if they're never aware of the problem, then it's going to be a vicious circle
Or-
that they're going to be fighting.
or you put faith in something so strong that regardless if you know or not, you accept the faith and the faith does the healing through it. There's two ways to heal. One is you become aware and you heal yourself, or you put faith in someone or something else and you allow their words to heal you, or vice versa, make you sick. That's the two ways to healing. I'm going to attempt to deliver that in a very high level, but that's what we're teaching is how do you do that yourself and how do you allow others? We have doctors sometimes that are creating health and sometimes not. Not because they're bad. We have chiropractors sometimes creating health and not. Nutritionists and not. Based on us being authorities and you accepting what we say as truth. And if Dr. Bobbitt says it, then it must be true. And what if Dr. Bobbitt is delusional and he got his data from a biased, polarized, fundamental source that wasn't true?
Thank you.
Yep. And so we will do our best not to teach you what to think, but lead you and guide you so you can take what you got and think and figure it out. All right, good questions. All right. Moving forward, chapter 8, how do I improve my health? Knowing the cause is half the cure. This chapter discusses the complexities of diagnosing illness and the crucial role of understanding the underlying cause of disease in improving health. Many patients visit doctors with a range of symptoms, but due to time constraints, many physicians rely mostly on information provided through questionnaires. This method often fails to capture the emotional and psychological factors that may contribute to a person's health. So Dr. Fleet, he draws from the teachings of Dr. D.D. Palmer, the founder of chiropractic, 3 primary causes of disease. Here's the first cause: poisons. Harmful substances, they enter the body, or they come in contact with the body, and that leads to an organic disease. Examples are food poisoning, chemical exposure, and allergens. So that's one cause of disease. Trauma, physical injuries. These shock the body or harm the body, resulting in structural diseases. Common examples include accidents, muscle strains, and whiplash. So that's category number 2. And category number 3, auto-suggestion, self-suggestion. This is associated with what they called at that time functional disease, where mental or emotional disturbances manifest as physical symptoms. Factors such as genetic predisposition, stress, and intense focus on illness can lead to these psychosomatic disorders. Now, Dr. Fleet's extensive study of these causes revealed that a significant portion of health issues, estimated at 80%, so at that time he estimated 80% of all disease had some basis in an auto-suggestion or a psychosomatic or a negative thought or a negative image. These emotions can disrupt bodily processes, leading to conditions like high blood pressure, hormone issues, nervous disorders, digestive disorders, and many other destructive conditions. Unfortunately, conventional medicine is often forced to focus on treating the symptoms rather than addressing these internal emotional causes. They're too busy. Their offices are packed. They don't have time to figure out all the details. So you use other sources to maybe give you insight. Okay, so the text stresses the importance of recognizing functional diseases and advocates a positive auto-suggestion or self-suggestion or self-talk. By consciously developing positive thoughts about health, rather than defaulting to negative thinking, individuals can impact their well-being and work toward better health. In fact, this medical doctor, Dr. Herbert Benson, an expert in body-mind medicine, supports the idea that many doctor visits are stress-related, reinforcing the notion that emotional health plays a crucial role in physical health. Through awareness and intentional thought, people can begin to unlock their potential for improved health and wellness. Let me summarize that, and then we can open it for questions if you have it. This chapter, this book, The Cause of Disease, this booklet, I don't have them here for sale. This is where this data is coming from. What I'm going to show you comes through this very simple pamphlet. You can get it. I'll give you data where you can get it. It's like maybe $10 or $12. It's but The Cause of Disease. In fact, I was inspired yesterday. I'm going to do one of my next informal on the cause of disease. So you're going to get a highlight of it right now. This is probably my favorite chart. I have too many favorite charts. But grasp the principle here. Now, this is conserved from many, many years ago. Some words you won't recognize. It's not 20 up to date, but it is from a principle standpoint. This is called the Expressions, Causes, and Effects of Disease chart. So let me show you. There's only 3 expressions. We already talked about them. It's either organic, an organic expression. Its cause is through some form of poison or toxic material. Its effects are the symptoms. So causes, poisons, parasites, germs. You can put whatever poison or toxicity you want in this category. We're saying that this is one cause for disease. The itises, these are all the symptoms. So any symptom you've ever heard of. Red, itchy, fever, this symptom. So now, if the expression is structural, the cause is due to trauma. Falls, accidents, lifting, excess strain. You could put whatever traumas fit here. Even repetitive stress, or violating the laws of the body repetitively. Never drinking water could shrivel up muscles, but it could also be toxic. But nonetheless, if the expression is functional in their terms, cause would be autosuggestion or psychosomatic or negative thinking. Well, what does that look like? Look at this. A genetic tendency. Now, we're not talking about a mutation. We're saying it runs in the family, but if you live a different life than they live, maybe you could avoid it. You eat all the bad foods, they had high blood pressure, you eat bad foods, you're probably predestined to have that issue. Doesn't mean you have to have it. Intense thinking about disease. We do this, we worry. So Dr. Fleet created a book on the Rays of the Dawn that says, oh, there's a chapter on how to take worry and change it to hope, how to take fear and change it to faith, how to take anger and change it to patience. How about vibrations of disease? You're just around places that vibrate negativity. You're around negativity and it stirs you up. And then emotional distress, disturbances, inner turmoil. These 4 categories, Dr. Fleet made these and said, hey, this are negative suggestions that create disease. But here is the kicker. Only 20% of doctor visits as a whole are either due to poisons or trauma combined. The other 80% have some origin in a negative thought and autosuggestion that you allowed in, gave it feeling, gave it emotion, gave it meaning, and your mind, your brain, your spirit took the idea and put it in the body because it said, you said, this is what you want. You're training me to give you this. It's not thinking good, bad. It's just doing what you're instructing it to do. Now, but 100% of all disease is due to this. Incorrect reasoning. You reasoned wrongly. You ate the wrong food. You thought the wrong thought. You did the wrong act. How do you know it was wrong? Even though you were told by all authority that it was right, because you perceive a negative effect in your life. So if that food or if that thought was right, but you feel negative about it, it might not be right for you. So disease, 100% of all disease is incorrect reasoning. The course Dr. Fleet put together in his courses were designed to teach you reasoning. How do you reason? Not what to think, but how do you think? Based on what authority? God's universal law, God's universal principles, nature's principles, the way that this universe operates. Without a polarity or a belief system tied to it. You believe or you know. And if you don't know, then you have faith until you believe. Until you know, sorry. That's how it works. We have faith until we know. And then when we know, you don't necessarily have to have faith. You know. But it starts that way. So then, here's back to this auto-suggestion. The soul chooses and impresses the spirit. You choose what you want to do or don't want to do, or what you allow in or don't want to allow in. Then the spirit expresses it in your life. So, soul chooses, spirit conducts it, it shows up. Or your conscious mind tells your subconscious and it shows up. Or more objectively, this originative factor impresses this executive factor and then it expresses in your life. That's how it works. We can use a lot of different terms. I can use the cortical brain, the subcortical brain. I can use down here the amygdala and the hippocampus. I could use all the different words that mean the same thing. The process is you choose, the power carries it out, and it shows up in your life. That's how it works. These are deep-seated principles that we'll attempt to teach. Uh-oh, what happens here? Your thoughts. See, it says seeds of suggestion. The things you do, the thoughts, the acts of your life, you put it there, you add meaning to it, it shows up. Or an authority or somebody you care about, their things, thoughts, and acts you allow in, they go in your body and they show up in your life. I can define this for you from a neuroscience standpoint, we could do it from a theological standpoint, we could do it from a psychological standpoint. The philosophy Dr. Fleet's trying to put through is a combination of science and theology blended together so you have something that's workable. You don't want to work with it? Great. We already have science. We already have theology. Some of us don't know how to use it. All right. Questions? I've said a lot. I've done a lot, but that's why I took that chapter, because this is the heart of beginning to understand the power that heals, that can also be the same power that destroys if you tell it to. It's already creating, destroying anyway. But you command it which direction you want it to go. Yes, question in the back. All the way back.
Based on updated medical research and findings, do you think that 80-20 still applies?
If you use ChatGPT, you will not get that answer. But, however, if you notice, I now in all my research, I still believe that 80%, I'm just going to say this, it's 100%. It's 100%, but here's why. There always has to be a thought that precedes any decision that then leads to any action. There has to be an idea that you make into a picture, a visual picture, a meaningful picture, and then that has to be carried out by your brain that then shows up in life. So when I work with people, if you are in earnest and you fully give me in charge of the healing and you answer my question, there's always a thought behind any action. There's always a thought behind any emotion. End of story, period, never not the case. I can find it every time. But what I do now with this is I say 80% of disease, autosuggestion, psychosomatic has a part in 80% of. I could go, well, yeah, but I fell down the stairs. Remember we said incorrect reasoning? Why? Well, I had this handful and this handful, and I was rushing out the door. What's the cause of the fall? You fail, that's trauma, but what was behind that? Incorrect reasoning. You see how, but you're not going to get that on chat. It's more, if you put it directly, how much of disease is psychosomatic, then you're probably going to see something, depending on the profession, depending on places, you're going to see 20 to 80, 30, 70, 40, 60. You can slide it however you want. So great question. Great question. Thank you for bringing that to light, and I'll make sure I address that in the future that way. But does that make sense? Okay. Good question.
Years ago, and I'm going to be very careful how I say this. Years ago, I came across a book where it listed all our illnesses, such as, diabetes, any type of itis, any type of, ailment that we come up with. It was all, and I'm not going to say this correctly, so this is not to be quoted, but basically it said like diabetes was caused from basically a feeling of abandonment, that a lot of these illnesses that we deal with are things that were taught's kind of think a little more simplistic, but the way our bodies or the way our minds perceived our environment at certain times and how we implemented it through. Actually, I think diabetes, it was rejection. Forgive me on that one. So just a kind of an interesting thing. And it listed a ton of them. I can't remember. That's one I do remember. But yes. It was kind of fascinating.
Yes, it is. And I want to make sure it's clear on this. If I had my way, I would want to go there all day long. The mind. I love psychology's impact. That's where I'm at. But remember, laws of the body, mind, and soul. We start with the body because that's our mechanism we use. It's our vehicle. I can't tell you how many times I've been in church my whole life, and we're talking about everything other than the body. We're sinners in every other way, but we're not talking about the physical diet, the rest, the recuperation, the movement. You see, we are, that old quote, we're too spiritually minded to be any earthly good. You are nothing without a fully functioning body. The power can't use you if it can't talk or breathe or move or... See? So yes, I want to work on the mind. But my body keeps reminding me that I'm on this planet in this dimension to carry out fourth dimension, if you want to say, spiritual things. But without a physical body, I can't do that. So don't lose sight that it starts with basic laws, because you got a jacked up body, it'll give you all kind of mental distress. Spiritual stress. All right, I've stirred the pot. Okay.
I think another thing that's been important for me, and I've been studying this as my 9th year, is that in the beginning, the thought of making changes, of giving up the beliefs that had been pounded into me or that I had embraced was incredibly difficult. It's taken years for me to get over some of this stuff. So I share that so that people would not be discouraged, because it took years and numerous classes for me to get to this point.
It takes work. It's no quick fix. If you learn anything to life, no quick fix.
Yeah, from online, Evie mentions current research is supporting the idea that trauma, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual, is and can be transmitted to the next generation. So this speaks to the 80, 90, 100% of dis-ease having its origins in energy transmitted. You want to tell them who Evie is?
Psychotherapist, that she might know something.
She knows a lot.
And then one more question, we'll move on. I love this, but I won't get you out in time if I don't. Back there.
So I teach yoga, and so one of the things that I love to remind my students is that the body doesn't speak with words, it speaks with sensations. And our bodies do carry all of the trauma and experiences because everything is vibration, frequency, and as you store all of these frequencies and vibrations that you've experienced from being in a traffic light to someone suggesting something to you, all that eventually goes down into your body, into your tissues, in your organs, and it stays there. And your body is is okay with holding that for a certain amount of time. It holds it for you until you're ready to face it. But it is not designed to hold it for a long period of time, which is why if you don't deal with that resentment or with that rejection, then yes, the body starts breaking down and creating disease. So the things that I teach my students is the key is to be still. The Word of God says, be still and know that I am God. We, in our lives, in my life, we are so trained to go and go and go, and we have piled up a lifetime of unprocessed, undigested emotions and sensations. But through yoga, meditation, prayer, slowing down, doing less, it's how you allow to become the unconscious conscious.
Good. And then I'll move us forward. I will say thank you for the reminder. March 7th, I'm doing another one of these, but it's on suggestive therapy. It's an information on suggestive therapy. What she said in this type of format, so that you can be aware that suggestion from our environment and from the people we love and those who we study is the main source of our health or disease. And so thank you for that reminder. Okay, Thoughts Are Things, Chapter 9. We'll play a clip.
Chapter 9, Thoughts Are Things. Really? Thoughts are things? Yes, your thoughts really are things. So you need to use caution in your thinking process. Thoughts are alive and composed of energy, and they travel in waves resulting from your feelings or temperament. Other people pick up those waves or vibrations and become conscious of the thought being held in your mind. A good example of this phenomenon is when you're thinking about someone. The phone rings and the caller is the person you were thinking about at the time. It happens often, and it's not a coincidence.
It's a cosmic AT&T system. All right, reader, please. 3 paragraphs. Okay, we have a reader up here.
Chapter 9, Thoughts Are Things. This chapter explores the profound concept and thoughts are tangible entities with real energy. Being mindful of one's thinking process matters, as thoughts are not merely abstract. They vibrate and resonate, influencing your life and those around you. For instance, it's often noted that when you think about someone, they may call you shortly afterwards, highlighting the interconnectedness of thoughts and energy. Concept therapy proposes the principles of physics and psychology are intertwined, particularly in understanding human behavior and personality. The human mind is likened to a transformer, amplifier, and antenna for radiant energy. Just as a radio and TV pick up various signals while turned on, our consciousness is filled with countless vibrations and energies, some positive and others negative. If you focus on negative thoughts or feelings of illness, your mind can amplify these detrimental vibrations, potentially impacting your nervous system and overall health. Through logic and the principles of physics, concept therapy classes demonstrate the close relationship between mental and physical action. It becomes clear that your thoughts serve as powerful forces that can either promote well-being or contribute harm, not just to yourself, but also to those around you. Therefore, cultivating awareness of your thought patterns could be crucial for improving health and the harmony in your life.
This is my favorite slide, too. Let me show you. So, first, look at the overlay. These individuals, and 2 individuals can come together and they can make a union. They can be in resonance, they can be in rapport, they're in tune, all the words. Now, our minds operate on the same laws of physics. They're electromagnetic waves. They operate, so we teach how the mind works from a science standpoint as well. So imagine this. The radio tower is sending out a signal, a certain frequency. Call it AM, FM, whatever your favorite station is. The radio antenna is tuned in tuned in to that signal, that specific frequency. And if the mechanism is working right, it will play. If the mechanism's not, like the speaker's broken, it won't play. So if our body's broken, that signal can't come down and manifest. But so the signal goes out, the radio picks it up. You can do two things. You can amplify it by turning the volume up. You can also change the station. You don't like what you hear, you turn the radio, you change the station, you change the frequency. You want to hear more of it, you turn up the amplitude. You want more health, you turn up health. But look at what happens. Subconscious to subconscious. Innate to innate. Communication, healing happens without placing on hands, without saying a word, just vibrating a certain frequency. If you're in tune, you can pick it up. So when you get angry, what station are you tuned into? The angry station. When you're inspired, you're tuning into some level of inspiration. Health, you're tuned into the frequencies of health. Disease, you tune into the frequencies of disease. These are some of the principles that we teach on how, especially as a healer, especially you doctors working towards your doctorate, how do you communicate healing on all different planes? Key point, what you are now. Your position in life results on past thought. That's why thoughts are things. Your thoughts turn into certain decisions, which then make certain actions. And they manifest in your life. And if you tell the brain that enough, or put enough emotion or sentiment behind it, it will manifest. And I'm not talking about just some, again, pie in the sky, I just think it and it just happens. No. But if you put enough meaning and belief behind it, it can happen relatively quick. There's no such thing as chance. When you understand law, natural law, universal law, laws of body, mind, soul, you will realize that the symptoms are a feedback to tell you that something is not right. Now your job is to ask really good questions. You need good questions to ask. That first day of the concept therapy course is all about the questions. One of my main mentors said the quality of your life is based on the quality of questions you ask. Ask good questions, good life. You don't ask the right questions, you may have a hit and miss system. All right, the one great law. Who would like to read this? Jackie?
Chapter 10, The One Great Law. This chapter introduces the concept of singular great law that underlines the universe known scientifically as energy is. The law maintains that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It has always existed and permeates everything. In religious context, the principle corresponds to the idea of God is, suggesting that God is the ultimate unchanging force that governs the universe. Both concepts emphasize that everything, including our emotions, is manifestation of the energy or divine presence. The text outlines several subsidiary laws that operate under this great law, each governing various aspects of physical, mental, and spiritual life. 1. Perpetual transmission of radiant energy. This law states that everything in existence is a form of energy. Emotions such as fear and anger release negative energy, while positive emotions like love and kindness emit beneficial energy. 2. The law of relativity. Everything is relative and gains context through comparison. For example, sweetness only exists in contrast to bitterness. Recognizing the dual nature of experiences allows individuals to adapt and find peace of comparing their situations with worse conditions rather than better ones. 3. The law of vibration. All matter is in a state of vibration, with higher vibrations indicating greater evolution. Healing is viewed as an exchange of positive vibrational energy between the healer and the client. similar to the relationship between a radio station and its receiver. 4. The law of polarity. This law states that everything has its opposite, such as hot and cold, or positive and negative. These opposites are not absolute, rather variations of the same concept. By fostering positive energy, individuals can overcome negativity in their lives. 5. The law of rhythm. Everything moves in cycles, with emotions swaying between positive and negative states. Understanding this rhythm allows individuals to recognize when they are in negative cycle and helps them remain hopeful that the positive will return. 6. The law of cause and effect. Every action has a corresponding consequence, affirming the idea that nothing occurs without a cause. This law emphasizes taking responsibility for one's thoughts and actions as they shapes one's future. 7. The law of gender. This law reflects the duality of creation, where all things are a transformation of pre-existing material rather than the result of creating from nothing. It illustrates the importance of balancing masculinity and feminine energies in all aspects of life. Ultimately, concept therapy emphasizes positive thoughts and actions aligned with love, hope, and kindness, as these lead to constructive outcomes in life. By consciously cultivating positivity and understanding these laws, individuals can harness the energy of life to manifest their desired future.
Thank you, Jackie. I'll show you these slides. So, laws of the universe. We said there's one great law. Energy is, God is. Pick whichever place to start, but there's no other place to start than one of those two. And some may say, well, it's still one and the same, or one caused the other, or the other caused the one. However you want to look at it. The 7 subsidiary laws, if you understand these and can operate within these, then you can neutralize the negative effects of life. It's just you need some instructions on how to do that. But I want to show you this. And you know, this is my favorite slide. So this has many, many applications, but I want to just give you an idea. Let's say that here you're in life and let's just call this, it just is. God is, life, it just is. There's no emotion, there's no meaning on it, it's just, you're just present, very present. And then something happens, and you drop down to being aware now of, hey, this is more positive than negative. This is good. Or, hey, this is more negative than positive. This is bad. But it's just a little fluctuation. You're just swinging a little bit. The swing, when you're on the swing, it's just, you're not really swinging. You're just kind of there. But then you keep thinking on the theme. You give it more pictures, more meaning, you keep developing it and imagining fear. You swing this way. Or you faith, you swing that way. You add, oh, this is going to be great. There's no negatives, there's no downsides. So great. Or, this is getting really bad. What happens if? Then you keep it up. The brain says, it's a pleasure-seeking mechanism. It says, I'll give you more of what you want. You keep wanting this, let me give you some more pictures of... Now you start having nightmares. You have went from a 11 to 1 ratio, 11 negatives to 1 positive. Or, you finally met the one. He's all good, there's no bad. Everything about this new assignment course is so great, there's no downside. You're 11 pluses to no negatives. From a physical standpoint, the more you move away from center, the more your brain develops a certain chemistry the more disease forms. So if you go too negative, you release chemistry like cortisol and epinephrine. You release harmful, well, they're both can be harmful with too much. If you're over here and it's all good, it's too much dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin. Your chemistry fluctuates based on your perception. Emotions are based on your perception. If it just is, there's no emotion, you're in the best homeostat or allostat or present form. Here's the kicker, you can't stay here forever. We have a desire to be all enlightened and never bad, always good. It's not possible. We have moments and glimpses of this. So depending on how far you swing, it's all good, it's all bad. Or your health, it's all bad, it's all good. They both can create disease because it's a chemistry developed by your perception of what you perceive is right or wrong. This book is designed for you as a handbook to help you balance your perceptions, the animal nature that we have, the sinner versus saint. Sometimes we're saintly, sometimes we're sinner. And then a combination. This chart says, you know, I'm just kind of human, I'm kind of good, sometimes bad, sometimes here I'm angel devil. I'm all good, never bad. I'm all bad, never good. So it's just, this is using the law of rhythm and the law of polarity in different ways, and many other laws. All the laws are there. I teach a class on that. But I want you to just be aware of some of those findings. We're using a physical brain. Our thoughts are telling the physical brain to manifest physically. All right. Quick questions. Any quick question? All right, we have a question.
Hey, Dr. Bobbitt, is there a way that you can explain to me so I can have a better understanding of the difference between polarity and relativity? I sometimes get those mixed up, and to me, both of them feel like variations of the same concept. With relativity being like, hey, if something's sweet, then that means the other thing's bitter, and then polarity is being the opposite too. So maybe it's the way I'm thinking about it, I don't know, but they feel very similar to me.
The idea, if you have one great law, there's 7 ways that we've delineated to look at the one thing that you see. If you had a glass house, each of you looking through 7 different windows, and you have a different perspective, but it's still the same thing. So this is where we get into trouble, because it's the definitions of the words we use that we're not clear about. So one of the things that Dr. Fleet worked hard on is defining, in this particular philosophy, we use these words to mean these things. Well, in my religious bringing up, I have to sometimes switch words to make it make sense for me. Now, what first popped in my head when you said the difference between clarity, did you say clarity?
Polarity.
Polarity,
Polarity
okay.
and relativity,
So,
the laws.
Polarity, everything has 2 points. The moment you bring something to existence, it now has a polarity. The moment you say that's good, well, that means you're comparing it to something that was bad. So you have relativity built into that, because how could you know it's good without comparing it to something bad? How do you know it tastes good without comparing it to something that was bad? Sweet, sour. Now, relativity, it's relative to the thoughts and processes in your brain. It's relatively good, relatively bad, relatively peace, relative war. Everything's relative because you're comparing it to something else. But everything that's in creation has 2 poles. Positive, every positive has a negative. Every electron has a positive with it. Everything in existence has to manifest with 2 sides. When you're present, there's no sides. You're just there. You bring something in manifestation, it has 2 sides. No matter how good you think it is or how bad you think it has 2 sides. How do you get off of one side? You compare it to something else that's opposite. Okay. All right. Chapter 11. Why be Positive.
As taught in Raise the Dawn, fear is the antithesis of faith. Every system of healing depends upon faith for its effectiveness. Even Christ, the great healer, recognized that faith was a necessary requisite to cure. All thoughts strive for outward bodily expression. Thoughts of health are vastly more important than thoughts of illness, because to the degree that thoughts are positive, they will materialize themselves in the body as health. So the manner in which we handle our faith function is vitally important, even to physical health. See, we can no longer separate the physical and the psychic in the diagnosis and treatment of disease. The whole person is involved in illness and in its cure.
Okay. Someone would like to read Why Be Positive? Thank you.
Chapter 11. Why Be Positive? This chapter emphasizes the significant impact that negative emotions, particularly fear and worry, have on an overall health. Fear disrupts the entire being, body, mind, and soul, stunting personal growth and creating internal chaos. Many individuals in hospitals today suffer from various physical and mental disorders due to their inability to overcome unnecessary fears. Often, patients and their doctors focus on treating symptoms rather than addressing the root cause of illness, which is usually fear itself. According to Rays of the Dawn, fear stands in direct opposition to faith. Every healing system relies on faith as a critical component of recovery. Even recognized healers throughout history, such as Christ, have emphasized the importance of faith for effective healing. Thus, cultivating thoughts of health is far more crucial than dwelling on illness. Positive thoughts can manifest in physical health. The interaction between our mind and body means that a holistic approach to health, considering both physical and psychological states, is essential for effective diagnosis and treatment of disease. Worry, akin to fear, disorients the individual and can lead to numerous health issues, including high blood pressure and heart disease. Chronic worrying can diminish appetite and lead to weight issues, illustrating its profound negative impact. Dr. Fleet, in Rays of the Dawn, spells out how negative emotions distract from life quality and offers strategies to transform them into positive opposites. For instance, one can shift from fear to faith, from worry to hope, and from anger to patience. This approach reflects early principles of holistic healing, which addresses the entire person, body, mind, and soul. A vital, often overlooked concept discussed is forgiveness and its effects on health. Dr. Herbert Benson points out that there exists a psychology of forgiveness, indicating that holding on to grudges can be detrimental to one's health. Failure to forgive not only creates emotional turmoil, but also manifests as physical illness. Dr. Fleet articulates that seeking revenge keeps individuals in a negative state, harming their health and hindering their well-being. In summary, fostering a positive mindset and emotions is not merely a personal choice, but a vital component of overall health, reinforcing the interconnectedness of body, mind, and soul in the healing process.
Thank you. Questions or thoughts on that section?
So maybe you can correlate the things that I'm doing to all of this. So I've struggled with insomnia for 30 years. And I did work nights, midnight shift in New York City for 20 years. Not the midnight shift for 20 years, but like for a year. And then I did evening shifts from like 4 to 1 in the morning. And so what I've done this month is fasting the news. I was never a news consumer, but I find that I don't have the capacity for any news right now. And I'm putting myself to bed earlier, shutting off, if I was watching TV, shutting that off like at 10. And Bible study, prayer, all of that. And I'm just wondering, how can I change this circadian rhythm? How can I get my original circadian rhythm back?
Now, all of you have a similar question, but it may be of a different symptom. So this is going to answer for any ailment that you possibly have. How do I sort through this? The first idea is first we look at the physical. She's already mentioned some physical things. I'm going to bed early, I'm not doing the news, I'm not eating late, I've got the room dark, I've got the room cold. I've read all the books on what do I do?
Right.
I don't really want to take medication. I will if I have to so that I can get to sleep. But so if you've done all that you can do physically, then it may be that that is not physical. Okay? This is a possibility.
Okay.
Then we have the mind. You may have trained your mind in some way that perceives that the rhythm that you had is better than the rhythm that you're trying to go to. See, our brain seeks pleasure over pain. Even though sometimes we're doing things that aren't healthy, the pain of quitting them is greater than the pain of keeping them. So there's a program, whether it's a physical program from years, but remember the mind and the body are plastic. They're neuroplastic, they're changeable, they're moldable at will. So either we have a physical program that perceives it's better the way you have it, or you're programming, the thought process says, I can't sleep. Why can't I sleep? Nothing I'm doing is helping me sleep. Instead of, we haven't got to the chapter on imagination, and how to imagine, or how to image, or how to picture. Because remember, the thought creates the thing. So if you're creating negative picture, subconsciously, then we start changing it to a different picture. Now, even though this is overly simplistic, it's how the brain works. Now it's like, I'm sleeping better and better. And if you can't auto-suggest it, then you let me auto-suggest it.
Okay.
But for that, we haven't gotten to all the details, but it requires faith in the practitioner to accept what they give you if it resonates and vibrates to be true to you. So,
got it.
Okay. Then, maybe it's not that. Maybe there's a design there for you because you physiologically function better under a certain time frame. I function very well in the morning, more so than the night. So everything has, by law, is operating. So we look at it physically, mentally, spiritually.
Okay.
Thoughts, things, acts. We look at that. Okay. So any condition.
It has gotten better. Because I'm getting up earlier now, the same time every day, and I'm working out in the morning, cardio, basic cardio. But I did forget to mention that I've been on prescription for 10 years, and I've researched the study on the prescription that I'm taking, and it says it's supposed to be for 3 weeks. So I am concerned. I'm down to half a tablet.
So imagine that, though, knowledge. She has some reality now that, oh, so this could be a chemistry thing that you're doing every day or have done or continue to do, that there is a weaning. That's why medical doctors wean people off certain things, because the chemistry has to take its time.
Okay.
All right, good. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on? Okay. We already talked about this. 80% are auto-suggestive. We have the rays of the dawn. That's a great asset if you use that, okay? Now, imagination. A reader for there's no audio. A reader for this particular summary. Imagination. Okay, and I'm not just, he'll say it, we're not referencing some fantasy. We're not using that. We're using a faculty inherent within us that only we have as humans. We have the ability to reason. We have the ability to use our imagination, which is to picture and change in how we see things, to the good or to the bad, if I label it that way. All right, go ahead and read.
In this chapter, the importance of shared mental images in the healing process between doctor and patient is emphasized. This practice, rooted in the teachings of concept therapy, aligns with the idea that the infinite power governing the universe has a clear vision of its purpose. Humans, endowed with reason and imagination, possess the unique ability to envision possibilities, but this freedom also presents the risk of choosing negative paths. A mental image is an internal representation perceived by the mind that conveys concepts or ideas. The quality and clarity of these images directly influence the outcomes we experience in life. For example, if you envision a new home, your initial vague idea can evolve into a detailed plan by sketching or working with an architect, ultimately guiding the realization of your dream. This principle applies equally to improving health and personal relationships. This chapter explains that all actions begin with an idea or image, which leads to thoughts and subsequently manifest as conditions or circumstances in our lives. Our mental image shapes our lives. Criminal behavior, for instance, often starts with a mental picture of the act. Individuals have the power to accept or reject these images, influencing the trajectory of their actions in accordance with the law of cause and effect. The most effective healing occurs when both the doctor and the patient hold strong, clear images of health and recovery. Once the vision of health is sufficiently robust, the inner potential begins to actualize that image in reality. This chapter reinforces that success cannot coexist with images of failure, nor can health flourish amidst thoughts of illness. As stated in Proverbs 23:7, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." Our bodies respond to the images and thoughts our subconscious accepts. Therefore, when a negative concept is removed from the mind, the corresponding condition in the body can also dissipate. Emphasizing positive imagery is crucial for achieving overall well-being and success.
Thank you. Isn't that great? So simple. And it is simple. And then we accomplish that, and then we move into another awareness. We get fooled sometimes by thinking that there's an end-all be-all on this planet, that when we finally reach a certain point or reach a certain threshold that we've made it. But then we're aware of the law of relativity. We're now aware of something we weren't aware of before. You take your relationship, any relationship, you have a new appreciation, and then now you're aware of the next thing to work on. This is life. But where we get in trouble is we think that there's some perfection on this planet that we reach, and that's it. But again, the law of relativity brings us right back and says, oh, there's something you don't know. No matter how healthy you eat, how much you exercise, how much you do all the things you do, there's always a new level. New level, new devil. Right? We hear the ceiling of one level is the floor of the next. And there's infinite levels. Okay. Questions on this section before I talk about the what and how of imaging? Oh, go ahead.
Another question, but something that really powerful to me was, if you envision a new home, that mental image is then going to bring you the architect who will help you bring that to fruition. So I thought that that was just beautifully said, because our mental image will bring in those who will help us bring that image to its fruition. It'll bring you the guide, the person that you need to create the realization of your dream.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, so Dr. Bobbitt, what if our thoughts are like on autopilot, but they're mostly like negative, but we want them to be mostly positive? How can we change like having 80% positive thoughts and instead of 80% negative thoughts? Like, how do we change that in our DNA makeup or something?
Well, you don't, because the fact that this is a higher level principle here. If you're trying to change something, you're really not seeing it for what it's trying to communicate. You're not seeing it as it is, you're seeing it as it's not. Meaning, if you want to change something, that means there's something about it that you don't like. There's something you don't know about it. An individual you see that you don't like is reflecting your inner nature. So if you're trying to change them relative to you, you're going to live in futility. And you're going to have the A, B, C, D, E, Fs of negativity. You're just going to be angry. And you're going to feel betrayed. And you're going to feel critical. And you're going to have all of these emotions on this book, because you're trying to make something into something that's not designed to be. The difference is you can have a goal, but when there's emotion attached, positive or negative, you now have added judgment, you've placed a polarity, you're seeing it as it's not, and that's attracting your feedback in life to get you back balanced and pursuing the goal. Inspired vision, inspired mission, you do it without motivation. You do it because you're inspired from within, and you'll take whatever challenge comes because you know it's on the way, it's not in the way. Things that aren't inspiring to you, things that aren't really you, you have to be motivated to do. Well, where does that come from? Well, it comes from injected values. It comes from you looking up to somebody and saying, I want what they have, or I want to be like them because I'm not enough. Or it comes from you projecting onto others saying, you need to do it like me because you don't do and think and believe the way I do, so you're wrong. So you project sickness and illness on others, or you inject sickness, or vice versa. If you see people as a peer, you put them in your heart and you love them for who they are, they become the people you love. And then the next time you judge, you're now aware that you aren't seeing something. You have incomplete awareness. That incomplete awareness brings incomplete chemistry in the body, which changes your autonomic system, which causes subluxations, tight muscles, disease to the body. So I'm trying to integrate all aspects from theology to science to philosophy. But the idea that you could be 80-20 positive and only 20% negative is a fantasy, and you're not seeing the feedback as a mechanism to say you're off track. On track is present. But what a glorious thing we have to live a life that we get feedback that says, hey, there's more. There's more. And those of you, think about your relationship with God. The more you know, the more you want to know. The more you know that you didn't know. And you desire to bring it up a notch. When you're healthy as you can be, you're now aware that you're not as healthy as you really want to be, and you bring it up a notch. This is the meaning of life. This is at least one meaning of life. This is an experience that we can experience all the many things and then bring it back to the one big idea. And then experience all the big things and bring it back to the big idea. So our eyes are always on the prize. Sin is called missing the mark. We're missed the mark. Our symptoms in life are just saying, hey, you missed the mark. Get back on track. So the idea of trying to perceive more positive than negative will bring you futility and frustration. We still strive for it because we're typically more negative. When we say more positive, remember the pendulum, -11? What's more positive than -11? negative 10, negative 9, negative 8. We're still moving toward the positive to get back to present. Sometimes people say, hey, you need to settle down because you're too positive. You're manic. You got to become a little bit negative to bring you back to presence. Our body wants this. In the wild, animals run from the tiger. They quickly return to their normal homeostat very quickly. That's our design. But we hold on to it forever and pass it down to our families forever, and we wonder why we have the problems we have. Good. Jackie?
Just to comment what I say to everybody, you don't know what you don't know until you know. And then when you know, that's when you're aware and can make the change.
Yes.
So that's all.
All right. So there's more to the equation. We're going to answer this with the how and what, or the what and the how of imaging. I'm going to read this. It says, this chapter of the book discusses the creative power inherent in all individuals. It emphasizes our ability to select thoughts and ideas from our experiences. Achieving health or happiness hinges on how effectively we can articulate our desires and how we can concentrate on the mental images and pictures that shape our reality. And then once these images are firmly established in our subconscious, the inner spirit will work to manifest them in our lives. Well, what constitutes a correct image? Well, Dr. Fleet says it this way. He says, well, it's characterized by it improves your life. 2, it causes no harm to others. For instance, if you aim to enhance your physical health, a suitable image will involve envisioning your senses functioning optimally and your internal organs operating efficiently. A positive affirmation might be, my body functions perfectly in all respects. Well, how do we embed these? How do we impress them? Well, to impress them in your subconscious, a key principle as taught in concept therapy is by dint of reiteration. This means, he says, this means repeatedly affirming your desired image, much like a mantra, that little, when we were children, the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, where persistence leads to success. But then, this is probably the most important part of that, because you just heard me say, well, it's not just a positive affirmation, think. Here it is. Regularly articulate your vision of health, and then this part, embody the lifestyle of a healthy person. What does that mean? When you were a child, you used your imagination to play whatever thing you were playing house, playing army, playing doctor, whatever it was you were playing, you acted it out. You played the role. You want to be healthy, you have to act. Some people say, they will say, fake it till you make it. Well, some parts that's true. Faking it means you start doing the things. Because now you're telling your brain, oh, it wants me to do this. I'll start giving you those ideas and allowing you to seek those things. That's the part we miss in manifestation. We get so caught up in just think positive, be positive. But then there's the act. Act it out. To the people who want a job, you got to fill out an application. You got to do your part. Do the interview. But we get so caught up in this infatuated idea that we could get something or do something for nothing, including physically, spiritually, or mentally. We want to believe we can just get to touch the hem of the garment and be healed. We want to believe that. But that lady had faith, unwavering faith. The faith is what made her whole. But there are laws that we still have to abide by. If all that was lacking was faith, then that's all you need. You live as if you've obtained your goal. To manifest health, you must choose nourishing foods and drinks, engage in daily physical activity, ensure adequate rest and sleep, participate in hobbies that rejuvenate your spirit, keep your body clean on the inside and out. And by embodying these behaviors of a healthy individual and adhering to these foundational principles, you reinforce your health goals. I asked, the last live I did yesterday, I asked my patients what are their goals for the new year, and what have they, and most said they didn't have any, and then others said they want to lose weight, and I said, what's your plan? And they just kind of said, well, I'm just going to kind of eat healthier, exercise more. I said, what does that look like? They hadn't created the picture yet. We hadn't even started, but we're 16 days into the new year. The likelihood of that changing is less likely unless they change that part. So unfortunately, many people misuse their creative power by inadvertently focusing on negative thoughts like illness and unhappiness. Often, they lack understanding of the laws of the body, mind, and soul, which limits their ability to use their inherent power constructively. We're using it, just not constructively. The section on Master of Self, it says concept therapy instructs individuals on the laws of life, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness and understanding the fundamental principles that govern existence. Everyone has access to the inner power and creates and governs the universe. That creates and governs the universe, often called spirit. To connect with this power within, it's essential to focus on a single positive idea and eliminate distractions. Mastering this concentration allows individuals to direct their inner energy effectively. This is where you hear people talking about meditation or prayer or concentration. Fasting allows people to focus. When we're doing too many things, we lose our focus. When you can implant an idea or suggest an idea into your mind very focusedly for a certain amount of time without distractions, you have a much better probability of the brain saying, oh, you really want this. And then if you add some feeling to it and some emotion and further develop the picture, the brain says, I got it. Now you start seeing those things, hearing those things. Your phones are trying to do that for you. Your social media is doing that for you. It's like a brain that says, oh, you like this? Let me give you more of that. That's what your brain is doing. That's an electronic brain. It's not moral. It doesn't care. It says, you ask, I give. You wonder why all those things are showing up on your phone. You're on a special program diet and all you keep getting is desserts. Because your thoughts are on, your images are desserts. But you see the logic. It's not bad. It's you're the one feeding it. So now we can say if you want to know your concepts, your fixed ideas, your limiting beliefs, look at your social media feeds. Look at your body, look at your life, or look at your social media. And that's not a judgment, because you could have all heavenly things. This tells you where you're thinking. Claiming your health is attainable. Don't miss this part. However, if you are violating the body's natural laws, simply maintaining positive images will not lead to wellness. Understanding and obeying these laws is essential to claiming your health. Focus on health, anticipate it, and act as though you already are healthy. And this inner power, recognizing your intent, will work to fulfill your vision. And then the role of imagination. While animals may live without disease, they lack the human potential for choice and imagination. Humans often misuse their freedom of thought. And when you create a clear mental image and you embed that into your subconscious, you collaborate with the power to achieve your desires. And this dynamic facilitates your journey towards self-realization and the attraction of abundance and well-being. This chapter emphasizes the significance of thoughtfully managing one's thoughts. Negative ideas can be transformed in constructive ones, which involves continuous effort and a dedication to preserving harmony in one's thinking. As the body heals from illness and regains physical health, the mind likewise benefits from physical, mental, and spiritual growth. So you'll have these notes to review. You'll have the recording to review. I'm moving fast because I've talked a lot and I'm moving closer to time. So, chapter 14, who would like to read? Let me move through these. On holistic care. Okay. Here's a mic. Just hold that.
This chapter advocates for a holistic approach to health care, urging practitioners to consider the complete person, body, mind, and soul, rather than relying solely on medication or physical therapies. As awareness grows about the true causes of illness, healthcare professionals who cling to outdated beliefs, focusing only on germs, injuries, or subluxations, risk becoming irrelevant. Every individual possesses an inner power or spirit that governs their life and the universe. This power operates within each person to the extent that they allow it to. Recognize this dynamic principle is fundamental to mental and spiritual healing. Faith plays a crucial role in unleashing this power, which in turn promotes health and vitality. Doubts about one's ability to heal can inhibit this inner force from functioning effectively. As individuals become more conscious of the detrimental effects of negative thoughts, this chapter questions what conventional treatments can do for the issues like guilt, fear, or mental unrest. It calls for a re-education aligned with the natural laws governing body, mind, and soul. By understanding and harmonizing their thoughts, words, and actions with these laws, individuals can eliminate the root cause of their ailments. However, the effectiveness of medical intervention depends on the patient's commitment to healing, necessitating trust and collaboration between the doctor and patient to activate the healing process. Pardon me, I gotta turn the page. The text emphasizes that health cannot be purchased. It must be cultivated. Achieving health involves aligning the body, mind, and soul with the governing principles of life. Although a doctor's expertise may facilitate recovery, proper health emerges from within, encouraged by an understanding of one's own inner strength. Christ, recognized as one of the greatest healers, understood that disease stems from the violation of natural laws. Trust in doctors and their methods is crucial, but it must be informed trust. Blind faith without understanding is often insufficient for lasting healing. Doctors are encouraged to explain their practices clearly, enabling patients to develop a grounded faith in their healing journey. Comprehensive diagnosis, both physical and mental, are essential for effective treatment. A shared effort between doctor and patient is necessary for achieving lasting health. Patients play a crucial role in their own healing, and relying solely on doctors to manage all aspects of recovery may be unrealistic. As Dr. Fleet advised, it is crucial to convey that adherence to the laws of the body, mind, and soul aids recovery. When individuals continue to disregard these laws, even the most skilled doctors cannot guarantee a lasting cure. Doctors can only alleviate symptoms temporarily, leading patients to believe they are well. When practitioners convey these truths and commit to guiding patients through the healing process, cooperation and trust can flourish. Patients often have an intuitive sense when they are being told the truth, which fosters faith and sets them on the path to recovery. Through this collaborative approach, individuals can take charge of their health and embark on their journey back to wellness.
Thank you. There's an endnote to the book on personal accountability. It says the phrase personal accountability often evokes fear in many people. When we fall ill, we seek a doctor to heal us. When we err, we look to a minister for forgiveness. And when we break the law, we hope for leniency from the courts. Why is this the case? Well, it stems from a reluctance to take full responsibility for our lives, physically, mentally, and spiritually. At the core of this reluctance lies a lack of courage. However, through education, we can cultivate, comprehend, and appreciate courage. Many people struggle to accept their shortcomings because they cling to ideals that foster a false sense of self. Individuals often present themselves as better than they really are, largely out of a fear of confronting their own mistakes. We inhabit a world filled with challenges and hurdles that can seem insurmountable, causing some to give up and some to forfeit their potential. Yet there are others, like you, who prepare themselves and persevere, gaining wisdom and experience each day as you aspire towards your goals and strive for success. Unfortunately, well, there's no great Wizard of Oz to magically grant you the courage necessary to embrace personal accountability for your actions, leading you to peace, happiness, security, and health. But through study and determination, concept therapy can guide you in developing faith, love, and courage, empowering you to overcome life's obstacles and ultimately achieve your goals. And then I'll play a final clip from the book, from the audio, and then I'll make some closing statements, and those that need to leave, you are welcome to leave, and those that want to stay for the healing demonstrations, then you may do as well. So,
almost everyone is guilty of using this great power, this great creative power, in the wrong way. Instead of selecting or creating beneficial ideas and then concentrating upon them, without even knowing it, most people choose and concentrate on ideas of disease, poverty, and unhappiness. People don't deliberately choose these things, but having no knowledge of the laws of the body, of the mind, and of the soul, they fail to realize they have a great power within that they can use in a constructive manner. No one has ever taught them the laws by which the human personality functions and how to use them in day-to-day living. Concept therapy teaches you the laws of life so that you can be the master of yourself and to a great degree of your environment. There is no greater knowledge than knowledge that enables a person to know thyself and to know the laws that make the world turn. We all have the power within that created, directs, and governs the universe. It's that great intelligence that flows through all things, the Spirit. Concept therapy proves that you can contact and direct this great power within through proper understanding and practice. But before you can tap into the innate power within, you must learn to concentrate on one idea to the exclusion of all other thoughts. When you have mastered the art of concentration, as taught in concept therapy, you will be in a position to contact and direct that same power within. Do you want health? You can have health if you feel you are entitled to it. If, however, you are violating the laws of the body, mind, and soul, and such transgression is the cause of your illness, then all the correct images and concentration in the world will not give you health, for the simple reason that you have not earned it if you are violating the very laws of the Spirit itself in your daily actions. On the other hand, if you understand these laws and are honestly trying to obey them, then you have a right to health. So concentrate upon health. Think about it. Anticipate it. Be positive in your determination to attain it. Act as though you are healthy. And the power within, understanding your intention, will respond to your image. It will meet you more than halfway.
One of my favorite quotes is this one that says, "Is truth your authority? Or is an authority your truth?" Meaning, is there somebody or something or some that you are accepting as the authority? Fine. If it is, great. If you don't like the results you have, you may have to do some digging. But where did you get your truth? And how is it working? Or you may need to understand the truth that you got a little bit better, so study that truth until you get the desired result. This happens to be one of my favorite slides. But we're familiar with this iceberg analogy. But these icebergs move across the ocean, not by the currents, not by the wind on top, but the currents below. That's how they move. Same with us. In our subconscious, we're storing so many things. And so you use truth to bring the unconscious conscious so that you can now reason on it and then figure out what to do with it. But if you don't know, well, your life will demonstrate you don't know and give you the symptoms and the feedback for you to be aware of. So the big key, you see it on this podium, you see here is to know thyself. It's self-mastery. Well, where do you go? In your folder, you have one final page maybe, or you have a page that looks like this. Those of you on the electronic side, Kim did an incredible job. She put you links embedded in there that you can click and it'll give you more data. But I tried to give something for every person. If you have a high interest, I have some high interest things. If you have a low interest, I have some low interest things. But either way, I have things that are no cost. I have things that have cost. But watch this. First thing, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Dr. Bobbitt Team. I'm not on here a lot. But when I do present something, as this lecture will go on there, and at your will, you can go watch those things. It's of the same caliber as what you hear today. So some weeks there's nothing, some weeks there's 2 or 3 things. So you could at least do that. I also have a little cheat. If you're in person, you can just scan one of these things if you know how to use that, and you have that. But that's the simplest thing that you can all do, and periodically if I share something, you can have it. You can just study your notes. You also will have them electronically. Those of you in person have the physical copy. Study those, watch the video. Then you have, and then maybe that guides you into some arena that you've been wanting to look at. So maybe that helps. The Concept Therapy Institute has a package that says this book, The Power That Heals, and the audio that you heard Char reading, and this, however long this goes, that will be put on a USB, and you can have all 3 of those. They're doing $48. Kim has a form here if you want to do that, and you can fill it out. You can call the Institute if you want. Those online, you have electronic click button that just takes you there. So that's an option if you want that. If you just want the book, we have a few here. They're being sold for $15. If you just want the book and that's it, we have them. Uh-oh, I did something. I did a lot of things.
Almost there.
Okay, here we go. Study notes, watch replay, special package. If you do not have a Rays of the Dawn, we do carry those on a regular basis. You can get them almost any time here. We carry a small amount. They're $20. You just order from the Institute if you would like. We're not really a book dispensary, but we have those 2 books. That's about what I have. Here's what I like. Let's say you want to study the laws of the body, mind, and soul all over the United States, even international, different days of the week. Some meet an hour, some meet 2 hours. It's free. There's no, and it's anybody can attend. Typically, we're reading 1 or 2 chapters out of the book and have discussions like this. And they're phenomenal groups. It's a way for you to work on yourself. So that's an option. Now, in your folders, you have something called What's Concept Therapy. I want you to pull that out. Those of you online, oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm rolling the mouse. I'm rolling the mouse. So let me move that past this. Okay. This is Dr. Fleet's first course he ever taught in 1944. Primarily it was to chiropractors because they were healers and he wanted to teach them the power of healing. Now, the lay people wanted it too, so then he allowed the lay people to come in and then he continued teaching. So, a quick glimpse on the cover. It simply says, Concept Therapy concerns itself with changing faulty concepts, fixed ideas, limiting beliefs, energetic blocks, whatever word you want to, strongholds. Put that, they're the same words. It teaches the methods by which false concepts, we can discover them, we can understand them, we can remove them and replace them with true concepts. The pamphlet defines so incredibly what we're teaching. It says, this course teaches how negative thought produces illness. I'm on the bottom right here, just at the last part, but unhappiness, failure, doubt, despair, while conversely positive thought produces health, happiness, abundance, and peace. So there's coming up, you see February 13, 14, 15, Valentine's weekend. If you want to travel to San Antonio, to the Riverwalk, to Bernie, Leon Springs area, spend 3 days learning these ideas. You can do it in person. You can do it online. Even if you're not available, you can purchase it and watch it, the 4-week recording. There's an option also for May 15th, 16th, 17th here in this office. We'll do that course here. Same option, do it here, do it by Zoom, get the recording. Or, I didn't put this here, if none of that works for you and you are a self-studier that doesn't want to sit in class for 3 days because you learn differently, the Institute offers something on their learning management system that you can take the course as you would like over a period of time. I think they offer it monthly. And you can sign up for it there, and you can take it at your own pace. You will get me in that course. It's not much. You turn one of these live courses, you'll get more of me. If you like me. If you don't, then do the online one. Cost. Here's the thing. It is a 3-day course. It is 23 hours. It's not a rah-rah. You're not walking on coals.
Fire.
New student, $495 for those 3 days. If you've already taken the course, take it again. It's a new unit of time. You'll see stuff you never saw. It's only $175 for those same course. If 2 of you sign up together or more, you, a spouse, you and a friend, there's a group discount, but you have to invoice it together. You only pay $371.25, whether you're in person or online or by recording or by learning management system. And then, so there's that. Review students, only $131 for those 23 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous. By the way, the Concept Therapy Institute is a not-for-profit teaching institution by the state of Texas. They just teach, that's it. Those of you that are a bit more interested, I'm delivering an informative on this March 7th, but this is another level of how our environment offers suggestion into our bodies, minds, and souls without you knowing it, and that could be interfering with your ability to function. Same idea, but this is a 4-day course, 32 hours, same price. Same price structure, same 4-week recording, in person, online. Ideal for healers, therapists, counselors. We're teaching the art of healing. Concept therapy is the science of healing. Suggestive therapy is the art. These are both introductory level courses. And this is just a flyer for that, March 26th, 7th, 8th, 9th. I said ideally for chiropractors, what did I say? What does that say? Functional medicine, energy healers, counselors, therapists, faith healers, but really for everyone. You have a pamphlet in your folders. You have a pamphlet in your electronic folder on this. Kim did a phenomenal job of putting that together. Lastly, this is a master healing course for doctors primarily, or therapists, or people sincerely wishing to heal. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. It's available. It's 113 hours. Partly live, partly learning management system. I have some involvement in this and healing healers. Okay? So, with that, if you want something during the break, get with Kim. If online, just click whatever links you want to click. In order that, if you have questions, let us know. Anytime you have our info. In your folder, you have our cards with our personal numbers. If you need to know which direction to go, where do I go from here, what's next, just ask. But remember, if you have questions, I'm going to ask you, what problem are you trying to solve? I'm going to try to guide you in a direction that's going to solve the problem you want. Okay? On different levels. I try to give you all the different possibilities that I could so that you can leave here with something that you could open up. Okay. Questions before we break?
Are you teaching both the Mansfield and San Antonio classes? Okay. And what was that 4-week recording?
You get a 4-week recording. So with any of these courses, right now, the Institute's allowing you to take it in person, or take it online, or you get a 4-week recording with that. So let's say you want to take the course, but you can't show up. Buy the course. You can watch the recording. You have a 4-week recording.
Oh, I see. Okay.
4-week access.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you. Access. 4-week access.
Gotcha. Okay. My other question was, so I've owned a business before, and my mentor told me I needed to build my team first. So in thinking about building my team for healing, I have you, I wrote some things down. You, my pastor, my church, my therapist, my massage therapist, my trainer, my doctor. I need help on that one. Hot yoga. And back to the doctor, I think I need someone more integrative medicine, functional medicine. And I don't know if you have referrals.
Well, we can talk about that. One thing I will share with you on the doctor part. Some of you have incredible doctors, but they think a little different than you, but you still need them because they think a little different than you.
Yeah.
There are ways to use your doctor. You hold the image of what you want, and he helps provide it. Sometimes we have to X what people say, but we still need their help. So we don't have to accept everything they say, so we teach how you can do that. And then if you need extra help, there's many professionals in this room that can guide you on who they recommend. Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Those of you that want to stay for the healing, stay. Those of you that need to go, thank you for coming. You have the recording. You can watch the healings. But whoever stays, you will also be intimately involved in the healing, because what happens on that table also happens. And online, you stay too if you want to be a part of it, because through that law of vibration, you're going to get what you need. Jamie?
One last comment on the concept therapy class. There is a full money-back guarantee. If at the end of the class, you sit through the whole class, you are not absolutely delighted, you will get your money returned to you. That's how strongly we feel about this class. And so it's been offered for years and years and years. So it's just the concept therapy class. Has 100% full money-back guarantee if you sit through the whole class. So.
And the demonstrations I'm going to show aren't chiropractic adjustments per se. It's using these principles to do the healing physically, mentally, or spiritually. So thank you all. We'll see you back 1:13.
Go ahead and stop. Yeah, we're going to stop and break it. And